Martell did an interview out here saying, I'm like, why would this dude even fix his mouth to say something about my charge?
Reality TV loves drama, but sometimes the drama starts feeling like entertainment and starts looking like a mirror people don't want to face. Because when the cameras are rolling and the lights are bright, the truth has a way of slipping out. And that's exactly what happened here.
So what's the problem with you then?
Every time he opens his mouth and says something about Marcel, he can be talking about Martell. Marcel knows about Martell. I'm telling you right now, I don't have no respect for you.
Okay, it's like dude code, and it's like we together. I'm not saying nothing about it.
We've never been together.
Where the pictures at, Martell? Let me see.
Cheers to my boy.
Go
ahead and say your shit.
Keep going, big fella. Keep going, big fella.
I'm done. Hold on.
Martell Holt didn't just get exposed by blogs, castmates, or social media trolls. This time, Martell exposed himself. At 42 years old, with years of chaos already behind him, he thought he could still control the narrative. He thought he could keep rewriting his story, season after season. But the thing about patterns is this: eventually, people notice them, and once they do, there's no hiding anymore.
This is so sad.
It seems.
No, it's not.
Hold on. Martell Melody,
you are.
hold on.
Your little ugly
Please.
shoes.
Hold on.
Okay.
Destiny.
I don't want nothing and don't need nothing. God is my source and has been since I left your dusty ass.
Okay.
What started as another dramatic moment on Love and Marriage Huntsville quickly turned into something deeper. Fans stopped arguing about rumors and started connecting dots. They stopped asking, "Is this true?" and started saying, "This is who he is." Because when someone keeps telling on themselves, you don't need receipts, you just need time. And Martell, time finally caught up with him. Before all the chaos, before the headlines, before the constant online debates,
I just hate that this narrative is going around and, bloggers picking things up and, certain people trying to destroy me. But it's not going to happen, though. I'm not going to allow it to happen.
Martell Holt was supposed to be the success story. A businessman, a husband, a father, a man who built an image of ambition and confidence right in front of the cameras. When Love and Marriage Huntsville first introduced him, people saw a driven man chasing wealth, legacy, and family success alongside his wife, Melody. They looked like a power couple trying to make something real, not just for themselves, but for their kids. And for a while, fans believed in that picture. They rooted for him. They wanted him to win.
Part of the harassing communications was you sending a picture.
No.
That makes me lose respect for Martell.
If it was true.
I assumed it was true.
You assumed it was?
Now that he's saying that it's not true, how do you feel about it?
I don't know if I would believe Martell.
You don't believe me? I've been a liar about things that we've been through over the years, and a lot of experiences that you've had with me. I've been a liar.
Yeah.
But behind the smiles and motivational talk, cracks were forming. Real ones. The kind you can't patch up with excuses or charm. Martell wasn't just struggling with pressure or fame. He was struggling with loyalty. His long-term affair didn't just shock viewers. It shattered the very foundation he claimed to stand on. When the truth about his cheating came out, it wasn't a one-time mistake. It was years of lies, years of sneaking, years of disrespect that played out painfully in front of his wife and children. And the birth of an outside child turned whispers into undeniable reality. What made it even harder to watch was Melody's effort to hold everything together. She tried counseling, she tried forgiveness, she tried protecting her family while the world watched her heartbreak for entertainment. And through it all, Martell kept promising change, growth.
Why he would say that, why he would throw me in the middle of that. And so him and Marcel was going back and forth. Unfortunately, edits didn't show what Marcel said, but they showed what Martell said. So you guys really didn't see or hear everything that Marcel was saying to him, because Marcel was dropping receipts and he was naming guys who Martell have slept with in Huntsville.
Is that okay? We gotta say a legend.
No, it's not a legend. It's not a legend.
I mean, 'cause this is.
Because Carlos, let me tell you. So you guys have known. You said that I've been quiet. I know a lot more than what I say. And for years, Marcel have been like, no, T, don't do that. No, T, don't do that. And we really have been trying not to go there with Martell because
Accountability. But promises mean nothing when behavior never changes. Their divorce wasn't just a breakup, it was a public collapse of trust. And instead of using that moment to truly reflect, Martell leaned into something else entirely: deflection. Here's where the story takes a turn. Because instead of quietly rebuilding his life, Martell became louder, messier, more involved in everyone else's business. Every season, there was a new target, a new accusation, a new conflict that somehow pulled attention away from his own past. He started pointing fingers at other marriages, questioning other men's integrity, hinting at secrets he claimed to know. And for a while, it worked. People debated, fans took sides, the spotlight shifted. But here's the twist nobody expected. The more Martell talked, the more he revealed himself. At 42 years old, Martell didn't expose others. He exposed a pattern. A man who can't sit with his own mistakes without trying to drag someone else down. When he accused other cast members of cheating, fans didn't hear concern, they heard projection. Because when someone has a history as loud as Martell's, every accusation sounds personal. And people started asking the uncomfortable questions. Why now? Why always someone else's marriage? Why never real accountability? Social media didn't let it slide. Clips resurfaced, old interviews, past statements that didn't match his current behavior. Fans noticed how his story shifted depending on who he was talking to, how he wanted grace for himself, but judgment for everyone else. One minute he spoke about growth and healing. The next minute he was stirring rumors with no proof. And that's when the narrative flipped. Martell wasn't being exposed by enemies, he was being exposed by his own mouth. What nobody expected was how tired people had become. The shock factor wore off, the sympathy disappeared. Viewers weren't angry anymore, they were disappointed. Because at some point, excuses stop working. Being hurt doesn't justify hurting others. Being betrayed doesn't excuse becoming the villain in someone else's story. Fans started saying the same thing over and over. He's 42. When does the growth actually happen? Martell's age became impossible to ignore. This wasn't a young man making reckless mistakes. This was a grown man repeating the same cycles. Still blaming, still deflecting, still chasing relevance through conflict. And when people reached that conclusion, his image cracked in a way no rumor ever could. Because the scariest exposure isn't scandal, it's realization. Then came the moments that sealed it. The interviews where accountability was half-spoken but never fully owned. The scenes where co-parenting tensions turned into public blame games. The subtle jabs at Melody that felt less like closure and more like resentment. Instead of focusing on healing his family dynamic, Martell seemed more focused on proving he wasn't the only one who messed up. But here's the truth. Nobody ever said others were perfect. They just expected Martell to finally take responsibility for his own mess. And the audience saw through it. They noticed how every time attention drifted away from him, a new controversy popped up. How every time his storyline felt thin, drama followed. Fans began calling it out for what it was, a desperate need to stay relevant in a narrative that had already moved on. Love and Marriage, Huntsville evolved. Other couples grew, other stories developed. But Martell stayed stuck in the same emotional place, reliving the same conflicts like a loop he couldn't escape. The irony is painful. Martell wanted control. He wanted power over perception. But by trying so hard to manage how he looked, he ended up showing exactly who he was, someone unwilling to sit in discomfort, someone who confuses attention with validation, someone who hasn't learned that silence and humility sometimes speak louder than confrontation ever could. The emotional damage of all this didn't stop with him. His children grew up watching their parents' pain turn into public debate. Melody had to rebuild her life while constantly being tied back to a man who couldn't let go. Every new accusation reopened old wounds. Every public comment reminded people of a chapter she worked hard to close. And while Martell talked about being misunderstood, his actions kept misunderstanding alive. Career-wise, the impact was just as real. Brands became cautious, fans became skeptical. Instead of seeing a businessman growing into wisdom, they saw a reality star trapped in chaos. Opportunities don't disappear overnight. They fade slowly when trust erodes. And trust is hard to rebuild when your words never match your behavior. At some point, even loyal supporters step back, not out of hate, but exhaustion. Family relationships strained under the weight of constant drama. Co-parenting became more complicated. Emotional boundaries blurred. Healing stalled. And through it all, the question remained unanswered. When does the lesson actually sink in? Because exposure isn't about humiliation, it's about revelation. It's about the moment when everyone, including the person at the center, can no longer deny the truth. And here we are, Martell Holt at 42, not canceled, not destroyed, but revealed. Revealed as someone still running from accountability while claiming growth. Revealed as someone who confuses being loud with being right. Revealed as someone who hasn't yet learned that real maturity happens off camera. The most powerful part of this story isn't the scandal, it's the warning. Because fame doesn't freeze time, age doesn't stop lessons from coming, and reality TV doesn't protect you from yourself. Martell didn't get exposed because people hate him. He got exposed because people watched him long enough to understand him. And maybe that's the hardest truth of all. When the cameras eventually stop, when the storylines change, when the applause fades, all that's left is who you really are. The question isn't whether Martell can bounce back. The question is whether he's finally willing to do the work without needing an audience. Because at 42, the excuses are gone, the patterns are clear, and hiding? That's no longer an option. So now it's up to him, not the blogs, not the fans, not the castmates. Growth doesn't happen in confessionals. It happens in silence, accountability, and real change. And until that happens, every time Martell speaks, he'll keep doing the same thing, telling on himself. And at the end of the day, this isn't just about Martell Holt. It's about what happens when someone keeps running from accountability while pretending they've already grown. Fame can hide the truth for a while, but it can't erase patterns, and patterns always speak louder than words. Martell didn't need enemies to expose him, his own actions did that. Every interview, every accusation, every deflection added another layer to a story people were already tired of hearing. The hardest part is this: growth doesn't come from explaining yourself over and over. It comes from changing when no one is watching. And at 42, the room for excuses gets smaller. Fans aren't asking for perfection. They're asking for honesty, real maturity, real responsibility. So the question now isn't whether Martell can stay relevant or keep the drama alive. The real question is whether he's finally ready to break the cycle he keeps repeating. Because if he doesn't, this won't be the last time he exposes himself. The cameras may move on, but the consequences won't. And that's the truth many don't want to face. Sometimes the biggest downfall isn't scandal. It's refusing to grow when life keeps giving you the lesson.